absolutely love that. It's a brilliant question. Okay, thank you. They already said, I love this. Okay, I can hear you. Okay, if you were to go with in the ease, what would you learn from the ease? With when the human is in the chaos stops you and pauses you and makes you take note. We understand when it is the chaos that it is trying to find the way around this, and the human gets stuck in the chaos and the mind unravels and tries to work through it. It's in the chaos as such that it takes a moment for you to sit with it, and it holds you back in the sense of you to analyze what's going on. Now, we like your question in the sense of what do I learn when I'm in the ease? Well, the human actually can learn a lot in the ease, but does the human do that? We have found not. So by having the chaos, and as you have just told yourself, your energy, your mind, your brain, your soul, you have just told yourself that you learn more in the chaos. So it's unlikely that you are going to learn much in the ease, because you are instructing that upon your soul. So you are telling yourself that in the ease, you are not going to learn anything. So you could make life a lot easier in a way by saying, I will still learn as much, I will stop and I will take time out, and I will be in the being of the moment so that I can learn to be in the ease of it. Okay, I need to, because okay. What they're also saying to you is that the expansion comes after the chaos, and anything, the crisis that happens is when you sit in the ease, you allow that expansion to happen, to take place. Because when you're in chaos, the human pulls in. The human normally sort of retracts, almost like the inner child, almost like that growth, and sort of like the caterpillar in the catalyst. It goes in when there's chaos. When there's the ease, it's when you come out, you feel safe enough to sit with it and to expand. So you have to have the balance. If you look at children going back, if they're brought up in chaos and trauma all the time, they're quite, hold themselves in. There's lots of research on babies, on what happens to them when they're born into certain families and stuff. And if certain people in certain relationships, you tend to hold yourself in. Narcissistic relationships as such. But when you come out of them, you then start to have that ease in your life so that you can start processing it more, and then you can start being more reflective. So you need the ease. Does that make sense? Energetically as well, that's very much about the energy. As we change, as we go through the chaos, and energetically we expand, we are attracting more like for like, because normally when there's a crisis going on, we're more likely to attract more of a crisis, a chaos around us, because we're like that it's like I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but we have Mr. Men, so Mr. Messi and the characters. When you're chaotic, it's like they said, like a static in your energy field. You are then likely to pick up, like they said, like the balloon that you do on the head, and your hair might go up because of the static. If you're having chaos in your life, you're most likely going to continue creating chaos around you, not because of yourself as such, but you're going to be attracting like for like energy wise. Okay, thank you. And then they just said, if you then are able to do the meditation, and you daily commit to meditation, thank you, they said that brings your energy into neutral, so you can always keep starting again and again every single day. So by going into that meditation, it's like to sit with yourself in the energy. Okay, so thank you. They said, I'm not sure if it's you or not, but they're sort of saying that sometimes people will find it difficult to go into meditation because their mind overthinks. So they just said another way of meditation is to be mindful when they're walking. They're mindful if you're by nature. Okay, thank you. Nature's a good one. Thank you. They're giving me leaves and trees with you. So even being out in the nature, that will be very good for you, because it's even just picking up on the sound of nature and the leaves around you. It sort of quiets, it would quieten your mind, they sort of say. And they've also got, thank you, they said, and music. I think they said, there is so much power in the words, in the tunes, in the music. So be mindful of what you're listening to. I don't know what they're putting to you, Mike, but be mindful of what you're listening to in your music. Thank you. They said, okay, thank you. They said, okay, thank you. Okay. Now, they're not religious, these beings, okay? What they are saying is the other side to churches and stuff, or community get-togethers, is people coming together, lifting each. Okay. So imagine your soul's in your vessel. So the soul is the driver in the car. So your vessel, your body is like the car. So in every lifetime that you've been here, when the driver is done with all the experiences, the experiments, they said, the driver pops out and moves into the next car. That's one thing they just said. Now, with your soul, your soul is processing your world through your senses and your experiences of who you are right now on your journey, on your pathway. So your soul is experiencing all this. Your higher self is like your higher consciousness. It's the awareness of who you truly are. So your higher self is connected to your soul, is part of your soul, but your higher self is almost like overlooking, watching down, sort of trying to give you direction. You can tune in more to your higher self by being your intuitive nudges and being aware of who you are. Okay, thank you. The reason why they're saying so much about being in the moment and being mindful is so that you know the physical self, how it's feeling. And the more you know how it is, how you're physically feeling, too hot, too cold, sad, happy, when you then all of a sudden get something different, it's your guides that are coming in trying to communicate with you. So your guides are part of your team. So your higher self is totally aware of you. Your higher self's connected to the Akashic records. Your higher self knows that, and it's part of your soul, of course. Your higher self knows that what lifetimes you've been on, where you're heading, the direction you're in, and how well you're doing. But your higher self is like your cheerleader and saying, come on, this is the way we need to go. It's like your signpost. So your higher self is part of your soul, but it has a different perspective, like a higher perspective, not overlooking of who you are in this lifetime and where you need to head to, or what it is that you signed up for your soul. So it keeps trying to nudge you back onto your path. So your higher self is not separate as such, but it has a high perspective, looks down and sort of sees where you are, sort of the overall sort of view, like your control tower sort of thing over there. So with your guides, these are more external from you. So your guides aren't internal, they're external from yourself, and your guides are appointed from the moment you are created, not from birth, because you're created before birth. Your soul, when it was created, your guides are with you. And each time that you come forward, these team of guides, they change, they up level. So wherever you are on your energy, the more that you learn, the more that you grow, the more that you expand, so do your guides change. So initially, when I first started doing this, I had my grandparents come forward who had passed over, and they came in to help me to be a psychic medium because they were familiar to me, and my energy was at that level. So I'm going to say about that level. And the more that I learned, the more that I grew, the more that I expanded, the more knowledge I gained. I had some more guides that came in at that level. So, and then the more that I grew even more, I had some guides that came at that level. And it just keeps moving and moving, expanding wider and wider, because you're attracting that energy stream. Like the radio, you're picking up different energy, the frequencies. So my guides started to expand to get more and more. I only had originally one guide, and then it went to 2 guides, and now I've got quite a lot on the other side. And now that's why I've gone to Ascended Masters, because I'm a teacher. I'm supposed to be doing this work. So I then connected to others on the other side. But they are not part of me. They have come in to assist me. So they are externally, and when I'm working, they come closer and closer into my energy field. Now, my Ascended Masters, when I'm channeling, when I do my trance work, because of the work that I've done, because of they know the role I'm going to play, they come internally. So if I'm doing a psychic mediumship, if I'm doing a mediumship, I ask the loved ones on the other side, these aren't my loved ones, these are the other person's loved ones. They'll then come closer and they overshadow me. So they sort of embody me. I give them permission so I can feel into their energy, how they might have passed, how they're feeling and everything, because once the soul leaves the human vessel, the soul doesn't have senses. It doesn't feel the way that the humans feel. As the soul in the human being, the soul can feel things because we have senses. But once the soul moves out of that human vessel, like the drive out of the car, that soul doesn't feel what the human feels. It's gone. So that's why the soul has to keep coming in, embodying itself into another body to grow, to expand continuously. So your higher self is like the overseer. It's trying to help you to direct yourself. Your higher self knows the direction you're heading into or wants to help you to get there. Now, individually, a good exercise to do is, I started off writing. So in the old days, I mean, we're talking a long time ago now, in my bedroom, I literally had a pen. I've got the notice board here, this great big office whiteboard. And I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I used to scribble in the middle of the night, go back to sleep, wake up and like, oh my God, did I do that? So I was channeling. And then now it's like, no, I do that during the day. I've set rules and boundaries. So it's not me, it's them feeding me through the information. So how individually you can do it is that you just put pen to paper and you just write and just see what comes up. You might have an idea, or there might be more ideas that come in. Is that you're channeling through your guides, your team that's trying to help you. And you can then also connect to your higher self, and your higher self, you can ask your higher self questions, and your higher self would work through with the channeling as well. It's just practice, practice, practice. You'll get to know the difference, because when I'm working with my guides, each of my guides have a different personality. I might not know all their names, but as I've worked with them through the years, a long time now, I'll ask each guide to come in. It's like when you walk into a room, you close your eyes, and I become aware of the energy of that individual, and I start asking them questions, start developing a relationship with my guides. They have personalities because they've existed at some point in time. Some of them have. Some have been light beings, some other planets. And you ask them to come forward and you get to know the personality. If I'm working with looking for animals around the world, I'll have St. Francis come in, or some other guide that works with animals. If I'm working as a medical intuitive, I'll have that guide that will come in. I will know who's coming in when, because I've built that relationship with them. Does that answer your question?